last episode, Welcome Home, we did a brief introduction to houses in astrology while using my own fourth house placement for reference. We talked about how houses in astrology are a great way to discover what areas of your life your planetary placements are most active. Are you sun in the sixth house? Perhaps the place where you can really be yourself is when you're at service to others or through creating routines. Last episode was also my gift to the universe for the new moon in Leo. And no, this podcast is not by Leo for Leo, but I would be doing my Leo placements a disservice if I didn't take a moment to praise them during Leo season and the new moon in Leo. If you're a Leo sun, moon, or rising, or have multiple planets in the fifth house ruled by Leo, welcome home. If you haven't listened to episode 2, go listen now. Amazon Prime launched a new reality dating series called Cosmic Love. It is completely based on astrology and natal charts. I watched the first 5 episodes in one night, mostly in disbelief at how accurate and revealing it was. The best part is how seamlessly they walk you through astrology and understanding your natal chart. This episode of Apollo's Landing is to highly encourage you to watch Cosmic Love, while also hitting on one of the biggest drivers in compatibility, the 4 elements: fire, earth, air, and water. Initially, viewers are introduced to 4 singles that represent each of the elements: a female Leo, a female Capricorn, a male Gemini, and a male Pisces. Then, 16 additional singles are brought to the so-called cosmic compound, all of them considered to be a perfect match for our core 4 elements. The only catch is, our core 4 don't know which of the 16 they are matched with. What is for sure is that each element does have 4 perfect matches among the 16, and by the end of the show, they will have to choose one to marry. The objective is to first get to know everyone and see who you naturally are drawn to or who you naturally feel a chemistry with. Along the way, they will be getting hints, tips, and astrology knowledge to help them better navigate the process from the Astro Chamber, a cosmic orb with a familiar voice, Cree Summer. If you don't know, Cree Summer is the voice of Susie Carmichael on Rugrats and a host of other animated characters. Likewise, she is a Cancer sun with Mercury and Venus in Gemini, the sign of communication. And she's also a rising Libra, another air sign that loves to talk. In short, this show is a beautiful cosmic hot mess. The entire cast consists of majority water signs and heavy on the Pisces. This wasn't crazy to me because Pisces is also a mutable sign, meaning they are flexible, versatile, adaptable. They can swim into any body of water and adapt quickly. They can move with the current. However, we quickly realize how easily Pisces are distracted by fantasy. The sign is represented by 2 fishes swimming in opposite directions. They are also the last zodiac sign the sun enters before returning back to Aries. So essentially, Pisces have a little bit of every sign in them. For this reason, I usually have a hard time identifying Pisces myself. They're just like snowflakes. No 2 are the same. Immediately, viewers see the 4 core are drawn to people who share the same sun sign or element as them. However, the deeper it gets, the more is revealed. Over the course of the show, each of the 4 matches selected for our core elements are revealed. It begins to get a bit shocking when the Astro Chamber reveals matches that our core elements would have never considered giving the time of day. Simply because the core of their chart had way more to offer than maybe their sun or rising, which are at the surface, so to speak. Through the show's detailed and flawless explanation of astrology and natal charts, it's easy to understand how Leo and Scorpio could work when Leo has Moon in Pisces and both of them are Leo rising. I won't reveal too much, as no one likes a spoiler alert. Again, you're encouraged to check out Cosmic Love on Amazon Prime. Elements are an important part in compatibility because they represent key personality characteristics. Water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces, are highly intuitive, emotional, and sensual. They are fluid individuals, very imaginative, and often a bit sensitive. Fire signs, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius, may come off as very sure of themselves and who they are. They can be impulsive and spontaneous, often passionate and full of energy. Air signs, Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius, often present as aloof, detached, and flat out uninterested. Just like air, they are often in the clouds, which means in their heads. They don't really like to get into the thick of it. They like to keep it light and airy, so to speak. Earth signs, Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn, are extremely grounded and value stability in their relationships. They can sometimes be conservative, slow to take action, indecisive, or cautious in relationships. Just like the element, Earth, plants and trees need time to grow. When water meets Earth, it is absorbed, nourishing the plants and animals and facilitating growth. As a Taurus rising, I often give off a very stable, calm, cool, and collected demeanor. However, as a Scorpio moon, on the inside, I'm usually having an internal battle with some pretty intense and unexplainable emotions. This is because Scorpio and Taurus are in opposition to each other, or simply opposite each other in astrology. Unfortunately, my Taurus rising, or outward-facing ego, absorbs all my Scorpio moon energy, so to others, I just seem like I'm chilling, unbothered, or just quiet. We have covered oppositions in previous episodes, but again, I will emphasize that opposition aspects are intended to cause confrontation, friction, and strain, while also bringing passion, reflection, and resolutions. When I realized how emotionally intense I was to date as a Scorpio moon, I started thinking maybe I'm most compatible with another water moon. I figured we could at least just cry together. The best way to describe this horrible idea is like two tsunamis hitting the shoreline at once. In a sense, it's an overflow of emotions for me. For someone who typically presents as calm, cool, and collected, this can be off-putting. If you pour too much water on Earth, we don't really nourish anything, we just make a big puddle of mud. The key is to find balance so that water is truly nourishing Earth. Plants in too much water actually die due to lack of oxygen from the soil. Still, water signs Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, and Earth signs Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn are considered highly compatible. Likewise, this means that fire signs, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, and air signs, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, also have a higher chance of compatibility. Cosmic Love does a great job of showing us how important it is to find balance between these elements for optimal compatibility, as well as understanding how planets, houses, and aspects play a major role in matchmaking. As you can see, the four elements are very telling when we consider what they represent. When we look at fire and air together, it's like adding oxygen to a flame. There is definite chemistry and sparks here. However, if this energy is too present, the spark is quick and explosive and fizzles out just as fast. I have personally experienced this since I'm a very fiery fire sign. Whenever I experience connections with air signs, it's intense, quick, and lustful. In my case, I can never establish a balance with this energy. I'm way too intense for them. Metaphorically speaking, when you pour water on a fire, it puts the flame out. Vice versa, the flame ends up boiling the water to evaporation point, or in the case of Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces, emotional non-existence. Likewise, with my Sun, Venus, and Mercury occupied by fiery Leo, someone with a lot of water placements may actually extinguish my innate fire. When you think about it, Earth also provides all the necessities a fire needs to keep burning. If anything, Earth signs being practical will find a way to pull all that energy to good use. In this case, these elements could have a lasting connection. In the worst case scenario, Earth's practicality and want for stability prevents fire from burning at its full intensity. When we combine Earth and air, these two elements could face some challenges as well. We know these two elements don't necessarily mix, but again, it all depends on where these elements are present in a couple's chart. Air isn't grounded at all, but bringing in an earth placement could actually help ground them. Earth could make air want to take things a little more seriously. Air and water also can pose some challenges. Water can help air with being able to communicate their feelings, but there's also the hang-up of air always coming from a logical standpoint of what makes sense in their head, while water is always trying to validate what it is they are simply feeling in their gut. Air and earth can definitely sustain a conversation, but they couldn't be further from each other in terms of emotional understanding. Earth is grounded and yearns for stability, and air is the complete opposite. Just like in cosmic love, dating someone who shares the same element as you can feel very harmonious and easy, as long as there's a good balance of other energies in the mix. Air on air can talk for hours and have plenty of mental stimulation, but may lack an emotional bond. Luckily, air signs are right next to water signs in astrology, so there's a chance air can find emotional balance if water is present elsewhere in the chart. Water and water can offer a long-lasting sensual and emotional connection for each other, as long as it doesn't become emotionally overwhelming. An elemental combination that I'm famous for abusing as a Leo sun is fire and fire. When you add more fire to an already burning fire, you just get an even bigger fire. More energy, more passion, more fun. Likewise, when any of the elements date their own element, it's considered a trine aspect in astrology. I'm very drawn to fire sign energy because as a Leo sun, Mercury, and Venus, they keep my fire burning in a sense. The balance is in allowing each other to burn at your own intensity, not trying to outshine the other. So again, signs that share the same element create a trine aspect, except when planets are in the same sign, in which case they make a conjunction aspect. Conjunction means these planets are together in the same exact sign. If you're an Aquarius sun and they are an Aquarius moon, your sun and moon are conjunct in Aquarius. If you're an Aquarius sun and they are either a Gemini or Libra moon, these planets are in trine with each other because they share the same element of air. While conjunctions are just a merging or union of energy, sort of creating an even more powerful coupling by doubling the energy, trine aspects offer harmony, ease, and plain old good vibes. Trine energy is supportive, rewarding, and expansive. The other aspect that also provides ease, comfort, and harmony would be the sextile aspect. Our sextile aspects are those mentioned at the beginning of the episode: fire signs with air signs and earth signs with water signs. The only difference is sextile aspects take a little more effort than a trine when offering ease and comfort. The final major aspect in astrology is the square aspect, which, similar to the opposition aspect I mentioned earlier, causes tension, challenges, and power struggles, all while trying to teach lessons, compromise, and build character. Fire and air typically squares with water and earth. If you were born Sun in Cancer and they are a Libra Sun, these two energies may endure quite a challenge in accepting one another. Likewise, a Virgo moon would square with a Gemini or Sagittarius moon. Again, the natal chart is a vast explanation of where all 12 planets were at the exact moment you were born. All of these planets exude energy, and when you're getting to know someone, these energies are also interacting with the energies in their natal chart. This is literal chemistry. It's either there or it's not. In Cosmic Love, we will often hear that matches are not normally compatible. This is in reference to a sun sign level. However, at a Moon, Mercury, Venus, or Mars level, there may be a much better story to tell. It's so important that we stop trying to judge people based on sun signs, and even after getting their sun, moon, and rising. Let's get the entire chart, when the moment feels right, of course. If they're not even aware of what astrology or a natal chart is, that's okay too. Ask if they'd like to explore it further with you and encourage them to follow steps for getting their natal chart. Once you have two natal charts, you can also create a synastry or composite chart to see how your planets and placements blend and interact with each other. Visit astrocharts.com, that's astro-charts.com, to create your free natal, synastry, or composite charts now. Composite charts basically find a midpoint between the two natal charts and creates one entirely new birth chart to represent the pair. Synastry charts simply lay two natal charts over each other, giving insight on the relationship dynamics. The best way to connect with this is to share my own personal synastry with my partner. Both my partner and I are Leo Sun and Taurus Rising. So we have a very passionate and sensual pairing that finds it hard to part. Yes, there's definitely a lot of passion and chemistry here, but when we look at the aspects, we can also see miscommunications and lack of emotional understanding below the surface. In addition to their fire sun, they also have a fire moon in Sagittarius. We already know that my moon and rising oppose each other, and therefore my watery emotions are constantly putting out my fiery ego. My emotions are putting out a lot of fires, actually. With the moon ruling our physical and emotional needs, our internal core needs, or in short, how we truly feel about the fact of the matter, there's a habit of me wanting to get deep into the emotions of it all, whereas Sagittarius moon would rather find something to feel optimistic, energetic, and enthusiastic about. As a Scorpio moon, it's very hard for me to move off my current feelings. I'm okay with being in my feelings. I live in my bag. With our rising signs being conjunct in Taurus, another grounded, practical, stability-loving earth sign, this energy is amplified or even more present in our relationship. It's super present. Your rising sign is how you appear on the surface, the energy you give off, the sign you're often mistaken for. It's still a big deal in your chart because that also means it influences the way you dress, style your hair, do your makeup, and things like whether you talk with your hands or not. Remember, with Earth and Earth, you can count on a very slow, long, and stable pairing. They have a lot of staying power and tend to take their time working through whatever it is they need to. At the same time, it may be very hard to part for the simple fact it feels so grounding to be together. You're not up in the air experiencing possible turbulence and low visibility due to bad weather. You're not on fire, and you're not drowning in a pool of emotions. Everything is calm, cool, and collected. Or in my case, everything appears to be that way on the surface. though we are both Leo Sun and Taurus Rising, I often feel the complete opposite of what my Taurus Rising is giving in the first place. In my partnership, there's a lot of energy put into understanding and revealing emotions, as well as the reasons behind why we do the things we do or how we take action in life. In addition, Leo, Taurus, and Scorpio are fixed signs in astrology, meaning they are incredibly resistant to change. Mercury is the planet of communication, and in our case, fire has to try not to boil water, and water has to attempt not to put out the fire. My Leo Mercury is bold and confident in communication, whereas their Cancer Mercury may be sensitive to aggressive or abrasive forms of communication. Even though my partner has a combination of fire and air energy in their chart, they are still sensitive to how people communicate with them. If I approach my partner in a manner that seems aggressive or harsh, they tend to retreat. They won't want to talk anymore because their feelings are hurt and they may want to retreat into their shell. Likewise, Cancer Mercury could also become very defensive, snapping claws at you, so to speak. Understanding this difference in communication makes it easier for us to communicate with each other anyways. The challenge becomes, how do I, Leo Mercury, communicate these intense feelings and Scorpio moon emotions in a way that doesn't come off too harsh for their Cancer Mercury, while also trying to convey feelings and emotions that are completely opposite the way I've been coming off as a Taurus rising. The saving grace is that their Cancer Mercury is already intuitive and patient with my emotional needs as a Scorpio moon. The Venus-Mars matchup is also important for compatibility. You want their Mars to be embraced by your Venus and vice versa. In my case, my Gemini Mars is conjunct or in the same sign as my partner's Gemini Venus. So for them, it works. I have a complete understanding of what it is they need in love, and I'm able to give it to them in a way that almost seems as though I can read their mind. On the flip side, their Virgo Mars poses some challenges for my Leo Venus. Leo Venus needs a lot of attention and affection, and they need constant adoration and compliments. Virgo Mars isn't so quick to act on that. In this case, Earth may be unintentionally fanning the flames that fiery Leo needs to keep their love burning hot. In a sense, Virgo Mars could be taking their sweet time with getting to the fireworks show. Add in the fact my partner is also a Gemini Venus who tends to be aloof in love, preferring to keep it light in matters of the heart. Let's go a little deeper and make a parallel comparison between Venus and Mars. With our Venus in Leo and Gemini, love and pleasure is innate for us as individuals. Fire and air are compatible, but with much need for balance to avoid fast burnout. With our Mars and Gemini and Virgo, these air and earth energies struggle to accept one another. Where Mars, the planet of action, aggression, and sex, is concerned, our Mars placements are square to each other, suggesting tension and stress in order to facilitate growth and personal development. We also discussed earlier that this bond lacks emotional understanding. I'm so busy I can barely sit down, while they're utilizing a moment to stop and smell the roses. I constantly have this little voice telling me to hurry up when there's no rush. The opportunity here is for me to learn how to take breaks and make time for the little things. In cosmic love, the male Gemini is a wildlife firefighter, sometimes often gone from home for 6 months at a time. For an earth placement who thrives on stability, this could be a scary reality to accept. Now, bringing the entire natal chart back into focus, my partner's Sagittarius moon and Gemini Venus are all for having fun, keeping it light, and not worrying about the idea of commitment. It's not that they don't want it, it's just with Mars being the planet of action, they are taking action like a Virgo. They are just a bit indecisive, wanting to take their time and go about it in a practical manner. With my Mars in Gemini, the sign ruled by Mercury, which is the planet named after the messenger of the gods who had wings on his head and could deliver a telegram in the matter of minutes, I have a need for quickness. Let's just get there already. What's taking so long? Suddenly, both of us having Sun in Leo doesn't quite justify the extent of our cosmic connection. There are a lot more challenges taking place below the surface that are causing self-reflection and growth, both together and as individuals. Thanks to the Leo, Taurus, and Gemini placements we share, the passion burns hot. Love and pleasure is effortless and easy to give. There's a physical and sensual attraction with an innate desire for pleasure and fun that keeps the flame burning in a sense. Our relationship actually has quite a lot of trine aspects, making it almost too easy and harmonious. Our challenges feel harsh because they exist in areas where feelings, emotions, and action are concerned. But in actuality, there's really no mountain tall enough for us. Even if my watery moon is essentially putting out the wildfire that burns at their emotional core as a Sagittarius moon, and my fiery Mercury has to learn how to say things in a way that doesn't scare them off. Without having these challenging aspects in our charts, we wouldn't be able to discover these truths within ourselves and began to seek balance and understanding. So I've shared some personal tidbits in hopes it'll spark connections in the way you view your personal relationships. In short, I just explained that I was extremely Leo in aspects of who I am, how I communicate, and how I love. I'm a little quick to act, and the way I feel on the inside is completely opposite the way I present to people on the outside, which usually throws my partners for a loop. Because my moon and rising are opposite each other, I often deal with internal conflicts between how I feel and how I present myself. These conflicts are intended to encourage self-reflection and growth, helping me to find a happy medium. How can these two energies coexist? How can the way I present myself on the outside better convey who I am on the inside? I could start wearing all black and get a bunch of body piercings to symbolize the dark, painful truth of being a Scorpio moon, but that wouldn't be conducive to my Leo sun either. Consider some of these tips for compatibility. If your sun is conjunct their rising, or if your sun is opposite their rising sign, or vice versa. Also, if your moon and sun are conjunct, these are indications of a positive connection. Mercury, the planet of communication, is always a big factor. So is Venus and Mars. What good is attraction if there's no communication? We see a lot of opposites attracting on the show Cosmic Love, with our male Pisces being matched to a Virgo after spending majority of his time being enthralled by a Cancer, Scorpio, and Gemini sun. Because Sun, Mercury, and Venus are so close together in the solar system, people are usually always born with their Sun, Mercury, and Venus in the same sign, or 1 to 2 signs to the left or right of their sun. For example, both my partner and I were born when the sun was in Leo. However, we are just short of a year apart. When they were born, neither Mercury or Venus had moved into Leo yet. When I was born, all 3 planets were occupying Leo. Just like that, we are 2 completely different types of Leo. Though these episodes on Apollo's landing are intended to be brief, there is much more to interpret when it comes to cosmic synastry. There's plenty more research to do. Cosmic Love on Amazon Prime is a great place to start. Sometimes there may be a challenge or an opposition, but it's intended to inspire growth. Imagine if we as a human race focused on balancing our energies. Instead of trying to compare and contrast our differences, imagine if we could find ways for these energies to coexist together in harmony. There's a world of possibilities out there. Trust the process. Trust the cosmology of it all. You're on Apollo's Landing.